Hi, this is Gary, and we're going to be planting tomatoes today. It's February the 20th. It's a little early. I try to get my stuff out early because we got such a short season to get the tomatoes in before the summer heat hits. These are the tomatoes that I'm going to be planting that I started about four and a half weeks ago, and they're ready to do something with. I got to get them out of here because they're starting to get root bound. So how I do it with these trays, you can set them, pick it up a little bit, you should maybe pull them straight out. They're not root bound yet, the roots are still growing down. So what I like about these, this particular seed tray, I would use this to poke a hole in, and I'll just set them in here. You can pull them up to about the first seed. Set these in here and you plant them. Now, since it's this early in the year, you might get frost. Now, frost is that temperature. It's what, because up north a lot of times people talk about frost and they say freeze and frost is the same thing, and it's not. And down south, so what I tend to do is I'll plant them early. We're not supposed to get any cool temperatures for the next week or so. If we do get some cold temperatures, you can take one of these. It's just a water bottle. I cut the bottom out of it and you sit over the top of it, pushing the ground a little bit. Leave the top off of it until you get the cold weather. When the cold weather comes, you screw the cap back on it. That evening, it'll keep all the frost out of it for that night. And then next morning, you just come and screw the top off. If you don't have very many, that's one thing you can do. You can also take a 5-gallon bucket, which you got one back over there. You just take a 5-gallon bucket, set it over there the night before, and you'll keep the frost off. So that's a good way to get started early, and you won't get the frost protection on it. I'm going to be planting 52 tomatoes today. First row here is going to be Shelby, Invincible, and Tachi. The next row, which I put 4 foot apart, 3 foot in the rows, 4 foot apart, so I can walk in between them. It's going to be Dafu, and it's going to be the determinate varieties. It's Dafu, Brickyard, which you can't get anymore. They quit making that. So that's one bad thing about hybrids, is sometimes you got one that you like, and they don't produce it. You can't buy them anymore. So I'm buying some leftover, leftover seed. I've got Red Snapper, Roadster, and Hosinator. That's going to go in that row. Like I said, there's going to be some doubles and double up on a lot of them. And then the indeterminate is going to be the next variety, because I'm going to take these two rows and use the Florida weave to keep the plants upright, so I don't have to have all the cages. The next one's going to be indeterminate, which I got Mountain Merit, Dr. Wachi, Purple Boy, Black Chef, or Chef Black, Chef Orange, Nature's Riddle, Lemon Boy, Paul Robeson, Raspberry Mocha, Wild Boar, Solar Flare, and Better Boy. And after I get them up and growing, I'll use these to put over the top of them to keep them upright. Some of them are taller. Try to get 4 foot. I've got some of these cages laying around, and that's what I'll cage them up with to keep them up off the ground. I don't prune mine very much. Just kind of, that's how I treat them. The last row is going to be nothing but cherry tomatoes. I've got 13 rows to plant them, and I've got about 15 or 16 tomato varieties, so we'll see how that works. It'll probably end up, I'll put some, either I might not have had some that has a good variety in it, or it might be I put some of them in somewhere else in the garden, just see how they do. But anyway, I got Mountain Vineyard on those. I got Mountain Vineyard, Pink Bumblebee, Large Red Cherry, Purple Bumblebee, Sunrise Bumblebee, Blueberry, Black Cherry, Napa, Chardonnay, Sun Gold, which I got several of those, Porter, Chocolate Pear, Everglade, which is a kind of almost naturalized native in Florida. They make small ones. I'll probably put that in the pot because they do tend to get weedy. I got Chadwick, Yellow Pear, Coyote, and Triple Sunset. So I've got, like I say, more cherries than I got places to put them, but that tends to happen with me. These don't look great as far as, you know, but they'll do just fine once they get in here and get growing. I will water them in, and we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated. I'm going to try to mark each variety so you can go through and see how the variety does. That way you might want to try some. All the paste tomatoes are high disease resistant. I think I got all 3 of those from Haas Tools, which has more disease resistant varieties. The good thing about some of your hybrids and that is they do have a better disease package to them. They do tend to make better until you get into cherries. Now cherries they're going to make regardless, but some like Dr. Wychees and Paul Robinson, you're going to get better tomatoes. You're just not going to get as many. What I tell people is try to plant your workhorses, your good, the red snapper, if you plant Celebrity or Better Boy, plant some of those to make it for your main crop, and then experiment with some other ones, see how they do. Because some of them, like Brandywine, anybody I've ever talked to, or I've seen anybody talk to, they don't do good in the South. They just don't like the heat. Some of your beefsteak, the one called beefsteak, one just doesn't seem to like it down here. We can grow the bigger tomatoes, but they have to be the right variety. A lot of the varieties that do well up north just don't do well down here. So try to plant some that are works down here, and then play with some others, because you might find a variety that does well. You might find a variety you really like, you won't plant every year, but don't plant just those. Don't plant all the nice exotic ones you see at Baker Creek. Good to plant a few of them, but if you plant all of those, then you might be disappointed if you so happen to hit. I had several last year. I tried last year some of the Purple Russian, Purple Ukraine. They didn't do good at all. I think Curtis Creek, one of those. I planted, I think I made 1 tomato. So, it's nice to have some of those, but it's always good to have your workhorses that you can depend upon. Anyway, I'm gonna get to planting all these back, then I'll keep y'all updated on the progress of them. Thanks for watching.